Germinating seeds, it's a little difficult. Giving them bottom heat when you're starting to germinate them, especially for peppers, really helps. Stay tuned, because we're going to be making a heated germination table. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Nate. You're watching TerraFate. We're here in the new greenhouse location, and we have to build a heated germination table. It's the only way we're going to have a really good, successful pepper and tomato season. So that is what we are going to be doing today. Now, for many of you who may not germinate your seeds, seeds germinate much better in a soil temperature of roughly 74 degrees. Sometimes seeds germinate a little better in higher temperatures you're at, but it's going to be 68 to like 84, 86. But usually like to hit things, unless they're really hot peppers, right at like a 74, 76 degrees. Seems to be that like perfect temperature for those seedlings. But we're kind of past the throwing them on some heat mats and, you know, just hoping for the best. So today we are building a 4-foot by 8-foot germination table that is going to be heated. As you can see, it is just what it is. Not put together, so we're going to be starting from the beginning. There's the plastic. Here's the insulation for the bottom. Set this aside. We ain't going to need this right now. We're going to be heating it using a coil that you typically put on a roof, hooked up to an Inkbird thermostat, and we will get into putting that all together. First, I'm going to have to measure all this out. We're going to be building it out of 2 by 6 by 8 foot pressure treated. It's okay because we are not germinating anything in the sand bed itself. We are germinating everything on the sand bed. The cool thing about this is you fill the container full of sand. You have your heat coil in the middle that warms up the sand, which radiates the heat into the pots that you are germinating out of. Makes life a lot easier. This is going to help with seedlings. This is going to help with rooted cuttings of not only just tropicals, but also hardwood and softwood cuttings going on through the future. So who knows, at some point we may look in here and we may end up having a whole wall of sand beds. But I'm gonna get doing some cutting, some measuring. Well, I gotta do measuring first, then cutting, and we're gonna get this thing screwed together. Alrighty. in your centers. I'm not sure if you can see that. All right, yeah. See how right there, there's a lip and the plywood isn't on it all the way? That's what you can do is just give it a little Reno. Put one right in the center, and you should be able to run right through. Now we got this screwed in, it'll be time for the legs. So the legs are going to be consistent of 4x4s. So my goal with these now is to cut out a notch in the corners so that all the corners can sit down inside of it. So I'm gonna raise, I think that's as far as I can get y'all to come. So I'm gonna take this. This isn't a very good cut. I'm gonna cut that out anyways. Come up and then come out, and the corner can sit right down on it. So I'm 6.5. So what I want to do, 1 3/4 here, come down 5 inches. Come across. And then so there's that. But I want to mimic it on this side. Come across. Then from here, I want to come over 1 3/4. Alright, so this right here is what I'm taking out. That's it. I want to take out 2 inches from both. So here, take my saw blade. And there it is. So now what will happen is the table will just sit right in this and screw into it from around the edges. I'm gonna do the remaining 3. I'm not gonna make y'all sit through this. I'll be back when they're done. We've got the all the notches cut out. We're gonna go ahead and install the legs. All you do is we simply just press it up into it. Get one right at the bottom, or what will be the top. When you do this, you want to make sure you're applying even, equal pressure, both sides pushing in. So one of the last things we need to do before we flip it over is mark out 32 and 64. We shouldn't really need to do too much because you can see that there's already lines on the OSB. And then lay some supports there. That'll kind of help with sagging over time and increase the longevity of this table. So what we're gonna do now is give her the old flip. All right, now the insulation foam goes in, because what it does is it helps to, especially in the colder parts of the month, to really hold in a lot of that heat so that coil isn't constantly running. Makes things really nice. Fastest way to cut it, salt oil. Down in there. There it is. If the foam sheet is curling a little bit, it's not the end of the world. Once you put the sand on it, it'll actually lay it flat. If it really bothers you, you can take a little more off it so it's not pushing so tight up against the 2x6. Just 6 mil painter's plastic from Lowe's. Doesn't have to be anything special. It's 10 by 25. More than enough. I'm gonna try to save some because I can make a pond out of it later on. Hardest part about laying the plastic is getting it all kind of even before you pull it through. If you put holes in the plastic, what ends up happening is the water that you put on the seedlings leaches down through the sand, and then it leaks into those holes and then rots your table out from the bottom. So you want to be really careful when putting the plastic in. All right, we are going to be continuing building the propagation. We got the 4 tons of sand delivered. I'll tell you what, that doesn't look like 4 tons of sand, but hey, water weight, right? So I have to move this sand over into the propagation greenhouse over on the other side. And what better way to do that than Bucket Brigade? Can't wait, super stoked. Oh yeah, ooh. Yeah, we'll see how long that one lasts, but I got that one at least, so 1 out of 2 ain't terrible. I got the first bucket of many to fill us up, but the first couple buckets are going to be vital. So you want to get this filled with some sand and then start on the outside like that. And you want to kind of smooth it out. As you see here, so it brings it more flush right up against, and as you add more sand to everything, it will help to drive it down. So you can go ahead and pour a whole bucket on at once and slowly spread it out, or do shovelfuls, whatever you're gonna do. But nice. But what you want to do is make sure you get the outside first, and just get this laying nice and flat as much as possible. Just be careful, you don't want to put holes in it. I'm gonna get to pouring this bucket and go from there. there's the first bucket poured. I'm slowly getting it in place, making sure that everything looks somewhat nice and neat. It doesn't have to be perfect, but if you're spending the time and the money to do this, you might as well do it right, you know? All right, there's one bucket. I'll spread the rest of that, and I'll come back with you once I got at least 2 inches on here. So I've got roughly 2 inches across the entire table. And now we're going to install the heating cable. This is a heating cable for on your roof to keep your gutters from building up with ice and keeping your eaves ice free during the winter. This will be laid, hold on, do not plug this in when it's coiled. It will melt almost instantly. It has to be spread out at least 2-inch spacing. So what we're going to do is we're going to start on this end here and snake it all the way through 2 inches till we get to the other side here. Get that all coiled through, and our overall goal is to hook it up to this thermostat, and we want to make sure that our cord will be able to reach our outlet. It may be different positioning for you depending on how you build it, but I want to position my thermostat right there so we can take a look at it. It won't interfere with another bench if we put one next to it. So what we want to do is take a drill bit. I have a 1/2-inch drill bit, and just poke a hole somewhere about 2 inches, 2.5 inches down from the top. Just like that. So now that we have that hole, we will take the end of our heating cable right here and feed it through that hole, and then start snaking it around. So I've got it fed through. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull all of the heating cable through. I'll have to do this separately, get it all snaked through, because it will bunch up on you like it has here. So I'll be back once I get all that pulled through. As you go, the easiest way to lay this, especially if it's a little bit on the cooler side, is to get a bucket of sand and a scoop and get it spaced out. I'm doing, I don't know what this is, maybe 3 inches, 2 inches, somewhere in there, 2.5, spacing all the way across, and then just putting scoops of sand where I want, and then just patting it down, and that kind of helps hold it in place as you go. I'm getting to about half of the table, and I've got about half of the cable left. So this is a 100-foot cable for an 8x4. They said to use like an 85-foot cable. I should be able to squeeze all that out, no problem at all. We'll see. I can always adjust the widths of the gaps. You can go up to 2 inches. I'm going just a little bit wider, and I think it'll work. But I'm gonna lay the rest of this, and then we'll fill her up with sand and put a check mark on it. I've got all of it laid in the bed. It actually worked out kind of nice. I did have to space it a little wider on these last couple rows, just because these first rows I messed up on, but equally spacing with however wide this is. I should probably measure it. But equally spacing, but with a 3-inch block, worked out pretty well. So now your goal is to just make sure everything, the cables are not touching anywhere, because you will ruin everything. So just kind of make sure as you were setting it that nothing touches. And then we're gonna go ahead and fill this up with another 2 inches of sand. So there should be about a half inch to an inch remaining at the top here. Let's get her filled. So we have the sand done. What we need to do now is get this set up. This is a real simple thermostat. The goal for this is we'll get this bad boy plugged in here like this. So it's currently reading 53.6 degrees in here. So it's turned on to heating. Now, if I plug this into here like this, there's power. So now it is heating up the cable, and it will heat it up. Now, where the thermostat is currently, or the temperature probe, which is the silver thing that I'm tapping on that has the suction cup, this needs to be in a very specific spot. So the goal with this, let me set that right there, is, so say we have our plants, there's our plant. What we want, they zip tied it. What kind of animal zip ties? That's just dirty. Hold on. What we want to do with this temperature probe is we want to stick this down in the soil like this. We don't want it all the way in the bottom, we want it somewhere in the middle. What it'll read the soil temperature of the pot. Now, it's heating the ground, it's heating this up, so if I stick this down in there, it's gonna start reading the temperature of what that is down in here. As that cable starts to warm the soil and everything up, it is going to radiate that heat upwards into the soil that the seedlings are in, and that'll create a heated table and a more optimum environment for seedlings to grow on. More or less just like your heat mats that you buy. This is just a larger version of that. The goal now, just to get this attached, what we're gonna end up doing is cutting the plastic around here, just run some staples up on the top, and we'll get all this cleaned up. But this is going to change everything for the greenhouse, as this will make it a lot easier to start tomato and pepper seedlings because they do like it on the warmer side. Unplug this. Pull that down. Oh, gotta tear the whole thing apart. Now it's stuck. Just kidding. So from here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put these little pressure treated caps on top. Now this probably isn't needed, but as you can see, the way it looks right now, it's kind of not very appealing. So that cap's just gonna sit up on top just like that. It'll help hold in the plastic and keep it from kind of shifting inwards over the years, and just make everything look neat. So here is the finished product. I have it capped off. I've got this all screwed in. Currently I have the temperature probe stuck into the sand. It was like 53 something, so it's raised at 10 degrees in like the first half hour I've been running it. So it seems fairly efficient. Pretty excited, got everything set up. Next thing I'll do is I'll just build a little canopy. Once we start seeding, that's not gonna be until another couple weeks. January 24th is when we are going to start. I'm super excited, cannot wait. I've got to get some more benches and shelves and things in here because this is going to be absolutely packed full of seedlings before we know it. What is growing on, Terror Tribe? I hope you enjoyed the how to build a heated propagation bench. One other thing before the video ends, I just want to thank everyone for 200 subscribers. Unfortunately, I haven't really been as active as I've planned to be, but that is going to change. We must have hit 200 sometime between now and when I viewed it last, and that's amazing. Like there's 200 of you out there that are watching what I'm doing and you want to see more of it. And I promise in 2024 is one of my New Year's resolutions to bring you more content that you want to see on the educational side, hopefully maybe a little bit on the goofy side, who knows. But just want to say love you, appreciate everyone. Thank you so much for the support. We're gonna make 2024 as epic as physically possible. Gotta go, gotta grow.